A BP official says some of that oil leaking from the well into the Gulf of Mexico is now being pumped into container ships. Fox 10 News had a one-on-one interview with BP's chief operations officer during his stop in Mobile today. BP's Doug Suttles had planned to visit the company's staging area on Dauphin Island Sunday, but rain and thunderstorms caused him to head to the Unified Command site at the Mobile Convention Center instead.
If you think about the ramp-up they've done, they went from a standing start to what you see today over the last 2 weeks or less, and in some ways I think it's amazing. I mean, out of this command post, I think we have something like 8,000 people working, and a couple of weeks ago there was no one.
Suttles says there's some progress on the company's efforts out in the Gulf. He says the problem that developed Saturday with a tube to siphon some of the leaking oil has been fixed.
We do have oil going into the ship instead of going onto the sea, and I think over the next 24 hours or so we'll see how effective that's going to be at how much of the oil it can capture. I think through this technique it's hard to know exactly, but I think if we could capture at least half, that would be very successful, and it may be possible to do more than that.
Suttles says the company is close to the next phase.
Is the next step, which should happen the second half of next week, is we'll make our next attempt to stop the flow entirely. What we'll be trying next week is either what people have called the junk shot, this pumping this material in to plug up the blowout preventer, or what we call a top kill, and what that is pump heavy fluids into the well to actually stop it from flowing.
One BP executive was quoted in the media as referring to the spill as relatively tiny. I asked Suttles if he thought the executive was wrong.
Oh, I don't know that he was incorrect. I think it's your perspective you take into this, and I think that, but I think if you look at this thing and if you live here and if you're dealing with this event, it clearly is something that's quite scary and quite worrisome.
The government wants a commitment from BP that the company will pay all the cost of the cleanup. I asked Suttles about that.
Just look at what we're doing. You know, we've now spent over $500 million since this thing began, and you know, we're doing what it takes to fix this. We're doing what it takes to minimize the impacts, and I would just ask people to judge us on what we're doing. We've mounted the biggest response that's ever been done in the world here, and I would hope that that demonstrates our commitment to do the right thing.
BP officials say the company continues to hire workers for the response effort through 3 local offices. You can go to our website for the list.